Hey guys, so we're going to continue with Group B. Again, it says find the measure of the indicated angle to the nearest degree, and that's how you know that you're going to end up using the inverse. So if you look at a triangle and it doesn't give you one of the angles on the inside, a right triangle in this case, we know that we're going to end up using inverse if we're looking for an angle. So we still set them up the same way though. So this angle right here tells us what the sides are. So you still want to label them opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse. We know across from our angle that we're looking at is always our opposite. Across from the 90 is always hypotenuse. Hype. Okay. And then the side that's left over is our adjacent, which in this case there's nothing even there, so we don't even really need it. There's no number or anything there. So this is going to tell us which trig function we're going to use. So up here, I'm going to write SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so I need to use the trig function that has an opposite and a hypotenuse. Opposite and hypotenuse, that means it's going to be sine. So we're going to write it the exact same way that you guys did in the last problems on the last paper. So it's going to be sine of our angle. We don't know what that is. You can put a question mark, you can put X, whatever you want to use. We'll just use X in this video. So sine of my angle X, the part I don't know, has to be opposite over hypotenuse. So 3 divided by 7. Has to be 3 divided by 7. Okay, so then I'd say, well, how am I going to get just X by itself? Remember, the only way you can get rid of, you don't divide by sine or anything like that. You have to do the inverse of sine. So it's inverse of sine on both sides. Just quickly, I'll show you what's happening. I'm only going to do it once for this video, and then every time I'm just going to kind of go to the answer from here on out. Inverse sine of 3/7. Okay, we're taking the inverse sine of both sides of the equal sign. So inverse sine and regular sine cancel. Over here, I'm left with just X, which is what I want. Over here, I have inverse sine of 3 divided by 7. In the last video, I tried to show you how to do it on your phone. I didn't realize that it was all backwards. I'm sorry. So let's go ahead and try to use the Google calculator. Let me see if I can get this to show up. Okay. So if I go to Google calculator, this is just another way you can do it if you are using the Google calculator and not a phone calculator. So right now it's in radians because radians is the one that's degree, or that's blackened. So I have to switch to degree. Remember that every time. And then you see sine, you see cosine, all that stuff. I have to click again at the top left. There's a button. On the phone, it's the 2 arrows. In this case, it's the one that says INV, which stands for inverse. So we're going to hit that. And then we were doing the inverse sine. Okay, and this is the same thing as arc sine, a sine, whatever. You'll see it written. Those are the only 3 ways. 3 ways it's going to be written. Sine with the -1, which is the most common one and the one you should be using. Arc sine and a sine. Okay, they all just mean inverse of sine. So let me go back to the paper real quick. What was that number? It was the inverse sine of 3/7. Of 3 divided by 7. Okay, hit equals. It's going to give you your answer, which it says to round to the nearest degree, so that should be 25. Okay, so this answer should be 25. And I'll go ahead and go down to the answer key real quick just to check that out. That answer is 25. Okay, so please feel free to ask me any questions if you have any at all, and I will try to help you in any way I can.